Welcome to Daily Life Connection. Thank you for joining me again today. We've been talking about this series of paths that lead us to the heart of God, the practice of spiritual disciplines. And we may think of spiritual disciplines as something that monks or nuns do in monasteries somewhere or an abbey somewhere. But spiritual disciplines are things that just every one of us can do. And we don't have to be good at it. I think sometimes we avoid them because we think, I'm not very good at doing silence, or I'm not very good at meditation. And we just need to get over that and just start down some of these paths. And the ones that lead you to the heart of God, just enjoy them and use them in your daily life to bring that richness and fullness of life to you that they can. Well, today we're going to talk about one that's very common and we're pretty familiar with, and that's worship. Worship. And when we say that word, we think primarily these days of singing music at church. And we call it worship music, and we're going to enter into worship. And that's true, it all is. But worship is much larger than just singing songs. The word worship comes from the word worth, W-O-R-T-H, worthship. Giving worth to, doing things that acknowledge the value of that other person is worship. We hear about a young guy might be in love, and we say he worships the ground she walks on. In other words, he gives great value to that person, and that's what worship is. It's finding ways that give value to God. And, music is a primary channel for that, isn't it? Some of the words are so beautiful, and the music just enables us to sing unto the Lord and give Him value, to let Him know how we place value on Him and treasure Him and cherish Him in our lives, not just for what He's done, but for who He is. But I want to go beyond that. We can put on some music on our phone or whatever and sing along with it, or we can just sing ourselves. We might make up a song. The Psalms were written, they were David and other writers who wrote poetry to God, just giving Him worth. They were songs of worship. And that's something we can do. Sit down and write a psalm to God, and once in a while, or we might paint a picture. Say, God, today I just want to sketch this picture or paint this picture, just to express how I value you, or how I value your love, or whatever. We might write a letter to God. There are just so many ways, that we can ascribe worth to our God. So I would encourage you today. This is, like I said, it's a really simple one, and it's one we're pretty familiar with in many ways. But I think if we stop and think about it, we will find there are other ways to express how much God means to us. We might want, we sometimes give gifts in honor of people. You might want to give a gift in honor of God. And it could be anonymous or whatever. But that is a way of ascribing worth. So I would just encourage you today to kind of sit down, make a little list of ways that you show people you value them, ways that we show people we honor them. And then think, how can I express my value of God to Him in one of these sort of ways, giving worship to God. And it's interesting because in Romans chapter 12, it actually says that as we daily present ourselves to God, basically saying, go ahead and live your life through me. Jesus, let your love and your grace and your justice and your mercy and your compassion and your kindness and your goodness flow out of me today. It says that offering yourselves as sacrifices like that is an act of worship. It's an act of worship. So that is even something we can do as we go to a meeting, or before we phone somebody. We can just say, God, I give you myself today to worship you. As an act of worship, I'm giving you me, flow through me. Use my voice, my hands, my eyes, my being. Use me today to express who you are to those around me. And God will say, that's a wonderful act of worship. Thank you. So worship, one of the spiritual disciplines that, like I say, we're perhaps more familiar with, but I think there are dimensions of worship that we perhaps don't generally think about, and we just default to music. And that's wonderful, but let's expand our repertoire of how we express our worship to God and give him worth out of our lives, because it is a path to his heart. It's a path to seeing him and experiencing him. It's a way of letting him hold our face. That picture I've been using at the end of these videos of just being intently focused on God until his incredible blazing aliveness begins to transform us and we come a light and alive to him. Worship is one of those channels. Well, enjoy your worship today, and we'll talk again tomorrow. God bless.